dealing with today. I want to start today's video with yet another black mark against the UK government, against the Home Office.
Hempen.
One of the UK's largest manufacturers of hemp and CBD related products has been ordered to destroy its crops.
They no longer have a license
To grow here in the UK.
£200,000 worth
of crops destroyed
as of last week. Yeah, terrible shame.
Like I say, another black mark against the Home Office.
They were told
Last year that they could continue to produce
the seeds and stems to make tea or hemp-related products
from that, but couldn't cultivate
or harvest the flowers anymore
to produce CBD oil. But like I say,
as of last week, no more. I believe they can still
import CBD oil from Europe, which I
think is still legal. Not too sure.
But yeah, like I say, it's
a total lack of common sense
from the UK
government there. Now, last year, medicinal
cannabis was actually legalized in the UK. I'm not sure how many of you know that or realize it. In fact, I had to look it up because I'd heard stories, or I thought I remembered reading a story about it, but I hadn't seen hide nor hair of it. Seen no mention of medicinal cannabis here
in the UK. But yeah, it is legal, but it is virtually impossible to get hold of, whether on the NHS or in private healthcare.
Virtually impossible.
Now, the drug classification system here in the UK is fucked up, pretty similar to America, but I'd say probably even more
fucked up than America. Cannabis sits in Class B, and to give you an idea of the other drugs in Class B,
you've got amphetamines,
ketamine, barbiturates, like some nasty stuff.
And cannabis has been thrown in there as well, alongside synthetic
cannabis.
One can kill you and... well, one can't. Actually, I'm not sure if anyone's actually died from synthetic cannabis, but you get the idea. A 5-year-old could tell you the difference between the two.
And it's a five-year prison sentence, or possible 5-year prison sentence for possession,
or
up to an unlimited fine.
And slightly higher if with
intent to supply as well. And just
give you an idea of how
fucking stupid these
classification systems are. Magic mushrooms
sits in Class A, alongside heroin, alongside crystal meth, with a 7-year sentence for possession and up to life imprisonment for supply. Mushrooms.
Really stupid, and perhaps there's a more of a
not necessarily philosophical
point of view. I think it's more
like just sort of general common sense, but I really have
or take issue with the government telling grown adults
what they can and cannot put into their body.
Cannabis aside, which is just a plant.
Let's take a
look at some of the real harder stuff,
like heroin, or
let's just take heroin for example. Now, people who take heroin obviously made a massive mistake in their life.
But a lot of the time, and some of these other hard things, a lot of the time that drug addiction or just use of these drugs
is an attempt to escape from the drug user, various pains in their life, whether that's
abuse as a child,
or just some
general other fucked up shit that has gone on in their life.
It's their attempt to soothe that pain, to solve that issue.
I'm not talking about all drug users. Of course, there are people like I remember being in London, and there's fucking cocaine everywhere in London.
And I was even offered
crack on a night out once, and I turned it down, but it's there. But
for people with these who often just trying to find a method
of soothing whatever pains they have, mental or physical, through these drugs, it can end up in prison.
Because of that, and I
take real sort of
I just don't like the idea of punishing
people who are already undergoing punishment enough for whatever shit's gone on in their life. Yeah,
I think it's a
damn shame, in all honesty. Now,
the UK is a nanny state. It's a real
any Americans watching this, it's true.
Over here, they will tell you exactly what to do, where to go, where to plant your fucking vegetables. And enough of it. We don't need to be told this. You don't need to tell a grown man what they can and can't put in their body. Look, if someone is strung out on heroin or whatever in the street, then fine. Mandatory rehab. And during that rehab, you need to look at what other issues are going on in their life that's led them to taking these drugs. Not throw them in prison, because as soon as they get out, they're in the exact same fucking situation. And withdrawal from some of these drugs is disgusting, from what I've heard. I read Slash's autobiography a few years back, and his stories about heroin withdrawal were terrifying. Honestly, go read that if you get the chance. Quite a good book, if I remember correctly. And Slash is awesome, you know. I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, nanny state. And not only do we have the nanny state, but also it's a huge injustice when it comes to sort of free markets and just growth in the economy. CBD production and the hemp industry is a real burgeoning market here in the UK and across the Western world. People are finally opening up their eyes, or governments are finally opening up their eyes and their ears to possibilities. I think huge companies as well over in the US are jumping on board since they've legalized in a few states over there. I don't think it's quite federally legal cannabis, but it's pretty much. I know there's still a few states that are where cannabis is still illegal, but here over in the UK, yeah, it's still illegal. It's still a class B drug. But you know, you go to any town, whether it's England, Wales, Scotland. I've never been to Northern Ireland, but I went to Dublin, so and you can fucking smell it there. It's everywhere. When I moved to this the town I'm living in now, and it was back a time when I was smoking weed every night, and I was sort of really jonesing for a joint. Didn't know anyone in town. Literally went to the local shop, saw a guy who was roughly my age, asked, and got about 3-4 numbers. It's so easy to find, so easy to get a hold of, and yeah, the government's missing a trick. You can tell I'm not the biggest fan of government in general, but they are stifling this economy. If they wanted to, they could decriminalise or legalise, you know, a couple of plants here. If you wanted to grow a couple of plants for yourself, for your own consumption, then fine. Past a certain point, fine, you have to get a license for growing, which is what you'd have to do for hemp, although that seems to be now fucked up and no longer a possibility. But yeah, license, okay, each year you have to buy a license, maybe like £200, whatever it is. That gets paid to the government. They get their fucking greedy hands on their share, and you can grow and you can sell, and you can even have a sort of a value-added tax on there, whatever. Just try and make it at least appealing to them, to those fucking greedy piglets over there in Westminster. I just think when the government does something like this and they take all competition out of the market, in fact they just remove the market entirely, how is that a good thing? And secondly, actually just on that sort of thing, it reminds me of when, because we're going through Brexit now and there's all this fucking bullshit about, oh, trade deals and no deal with the EU, and you know, what are we going to do, and there's going to be a recession, etc. And I know the US is lining up to sort of give us a few deals, but there was one sticking point that a couple of weeks ago, I remember, chlorinated chicken. Now, the government was against importing chlorinated chicken from the US. I'm not sure. Not sure why. Because, you know, the government has to tell, I suppose the government has to tell its citizens what they can and cannot eat, of course. So yeah, the chlorinated chicken was a no-go. But when you stop and think about it, if they allowed that to come into the country, you're introducing another product into the market at obviously a cheaper price because of you know, whatever hoodoo about the chlorine used.
and then when that product enters the market, it's going to drive costs of all the other chicken down because they have to compete with that. Now, there are going to be people in the population who, I don't really care to be honest, but who don't want chlorine to be used on their chicken, and so people farmers who can sell their chickens who don't use chlorine, they can sell their chicken at a slight premium, but of course the price still has to come down for the consumer just to compete. It's a good thing. More competition in the market is a good thing, and the government fucking puts a roadblock in it every single time. It's almost like they don't want us or the economy to grow. I remember that they celebrate if we get like 0.2% growth or whatever it is. It's so stupid, man. And this is again more of a not really a concrete point, but I would just love it if this country grew some fucking balls, waded out onto the world stage, and said, look, we're going to be the first. Okay, maybe not the first. I know Uruguay did some stuff way back, and Portugal as well, I think. Yeah, but we're going to be the first. We're going to legalise everything. Mandatory rehab for people on the harder shit. If you want to smoke weed, then go ahead. We have public smoking policies here in the UK, and fine, stick by that. Obviously, and you don't smoke and drink. Don't smoke in public places, things like that. Just general common sense ideas. I just think, the government's really missing a trick with this, and they'll come to regret it later on because it's inevitable that cannabis will be legalised here in the UK. I believe it's inevitable that other drugs, including LSD, magic mushrooms, will eventually become legal here in the UK. So why not just fucking get it over and done with? Just stop fucking over people, especially the people who need it, man. Like there's people like me. I don't mind smoking weed just to get high every now and then, and watch a movie. I watched The Big Lebowski. I remember watching The Big Lebowski the first time and just thought, what the hell is this movie? But then I watched it while high, and man, it's one of my favourite movies now. It totally made sense after that. But there are people who, where CBD is the only thing that gives them any relief from seizures, from MS, various things like that, and for the government to be stifling that, to be stopping that, is utterly atrocious in my opinion. I think it's a fucking shame. Anyway, take care, guys.